This Now NewsNation contributor Kurt Bardella. He's also a veteran political and media strategist. As we get set to hear from the president during the cabinet meeting, the first time we'll hear from him as this deal seems to be coming together, at least phase one of it. Your reaction to the historic nature? Peace in the Middle East is one of the most complex issues that our world faces.
I think it's great news. This is one of those times where it supersedes the traditional partisan politics that divide us so often. This is bigger than that. And when you look at presidential legacies, they're often forged in the foreign policy portfolio. And this is something that will cement President Trump's legacy if we're able to achieve a lasting peace, an end to this conflict, an end to the bloodshed. That is something that will stand the test of time when we look back on this presidency. And oftentimes, foreign policy accomplishments they overshadow whatever domestic stuff goes on during your tenure. And this is a monumental moment, not just for this president, but really for the global world order at large.
You also, as you celebrate this next phase in peace and hope for these families and for that region, the president, if all of this comes together, can then focus his attention on the Russia-Ukraine situation. One, he has very publicly said he thought would be the first war he'd be able to solve, and it has been elusive. Does this give him more leverage going into that discussion?
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, again, this is one of the two major conflicts that he inherited, if you will, when he became president, and he campaigned vigorously on the idea that he would end these conflicts. It's taken a little bit longer than he would have thought, but it's certainly getting a win under your belt like this, and that's a big one. It's like sports: winning begots winning. And once you have that momentum, I think it certainly strengthens the president's hand at trying to bring Putin to the negotiating table and trying to forge some sort of deal that can end the conflict in Ukraine. If that is the only one left on the board for him to swipe down, I think that the president is going to be even more focused, even more determined, and feeling even more emboldened, dictating terms rather than kind of sitting back and trying to see if Zelensky and Putin and the European Union can forge that peace. While he kind of took a step back from that, I think now if he gets this done, it will embolden him to step right back in and take a much more decisive, direct, in detailed route to forging that peace.
We've got the conflict at home, though, that the president is focusing on as well. And I anticipate he'll get some questions about bringing in the National Guard to Illinois, also his desire to bring in troops in Portland to tackle crime and also address the situation we're seeing with ICE. What's your read on this right now, as at least in Illinois, this case heads to court today, the governor and the mayor of Chicago both pushing back on this deployment?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think that on one hand, having this success in the Middle East again emboldens the president even here at home. He's feeling particularly commander in chief like right now, and so I don't see him backing off of what he wants to do in Chicago and Portland. On the other hand, you do not want to let things overshadow such a monumentous foreign policy accomplishment. And I'm going to tell you, if you have this conflict here between your own state and governors and local versus federal, as well as the backdrop of a government shutdown unfolding, that can very much overshadow this Middle East peace agreement. And so I think it's in the president's best interest to try to de-escalate these conflicts as quickly as possible so that he can shine a light and keep the focus on what he's doing with Israel and Palestine.
Yeah, all good points. Kurt, thanks as always. Great to see you.
Thanks for having me.